Good morning.
Oh, Jane.
My name is Jane Toohey. I am your, sorry? Oh, sorry. Bill's first. Sorry. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Jane Toohey, and I'm your worship associate this morning. If you are joining us for the first time, you are especially welcome, as ours is a faith that is ever evolving. And we also welcome this morning those who might be joining us online. Please join us after after service this morning for coffee hour next door in the parish hall, the building to your right. We have an exciting new addition this morning, a popcorn popper on wheels. So please join us. Ours is a thriving congregation. Please, at the end of the service, be sure to peruse the programs and services in the order of service and see what might perk your interest. It is no small thing that we have gathered here this morning, so let us give ourselves to it. I welcome one and all to our church and our worship service. Thank you. It is good to be together.
It is indeed good to be together. It is indeed good to see each and every one of you. There are weeks and days, and then there are weeks and days. And it is good to be together. Our call to worship this morning is a poem entitled "The Decision." There is a moment before a shape hardens, a color sets, before the fixative or heat of the kiln. The letter might still be taken from the mailbox, the hand held back by the elbow, the word kept between the larynx pulse and the amplifying drum skin of the room's air. The thorax of an ant is not as narrow. The green coat on an old copper weighs more. Yet something slips through it, looks around, sets out in the new direction for other lands. Not into exile, not into hope, simply changed. As a sandy track rut changes when called a silk road. It cannot be after turned back from. You are faithfully called to worship.
At this time, I would like to call forward representative delegates for General Assembly, who will light our chalice and our candles of peace. These are people who either have been or will be delegates to General Assembly.
Please join us to read the words of the chalice lighting together. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Each week, we also light 2 candles of peace, representing 2 places on earth that we lift up and remember as a sacred encounter with our world. There are untold numbers of places on earth that need peace, and these 2 we especially hold close in this service and through the week ahead. After each candle is lit, we will speak the words for peace together in English, Arabic, and Hebrew. Peace, salam, shalom. Our first candle this morning is lit for Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where last Thursday 6 people lost their lives during a mass shooting at a Molson Coors complex. We will keep working for reform to gun laws and always remember those who have lost their lives and their families and friends. Peace, salam, shalom. Our second candle this morning is lit for the world, for the globe, for the 31 countries where the coronavirus has taken lives, and for the whole world as we respond to what the World Health Organization is labeling at this time a public health emergency. May the health and well-being of all people be in the forefront of the minds of all who make decisions in response to what is occurring. Peace, salam, shalom. Please rise and embody your spirit, and let's join together in our opening hymn. It's the Teal Hymnal 1003, Where Do We Come From?
Good morning, everybody. As you're finding your place, I just want to let you share with you how we're going to sing this today. We did this once in the fall, and so hopefully if you enjoyed it then, you'll enjoy it again. We're going to sing each line through. Once I'll sing it and you sing it back to me, and then we'll all sing it one time through, and after that, you can pick the line that speaks to you today. Everybody will pick a different line. Let your heart decide which one feels good to you or which one your voice wants to sing, and at the end, we will all sing the line beginning with mystery together. So, here's the first line. Repeat after me. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where are we going from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? So let's sing that all the way through once, and then please do pick one. Maybe pick one that's different from the person around you so that we all build a beautiful harmony together. Ready? And where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we? Ready? Go. Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery.
Let's join our voices in our affirmation of faith. The words are printed in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. Please be seated. And at this time, we'll invite all of our children and youth to come forward for our time for all ages. There's space. You want to come up? Lots of space. Come on. Yeah. If we scoot in a little bit, then everyone can join. Or if you want to come up. Hi. Welcome. Hi, Nolan.
Hello, everyone. On Tuesday, Reverend Rebecca and I decided that I would be leading this time for all ages today, and that the theme would be about making decisions. And then a funny thing happened. I had a really hard time deciding what to do. I had a lot of ideas, but none of them seemed quite right. By Saturday, yesterday, I was starting to feel slightly stressed out about it, but I still trusted myself to figure it out. And I trusted that all of you would support me. And then I figured it out. One of the many things that I love so much about improvisation, theater games, is that there are no wrong answers. There's no script. We have the freedom to make any choice and just be present in the moment. That can also be really scary. It takes a lot of courage to take that kind of risk and be present in the moment. In an improv class, we get to lean into that discomfort. We get to practice making decisions, and we get to learn how to trust ourselves and others. So I think today is the perfect day to play a brief improv game. And Reverend Rebecca is going to help me. So we're going to play a game called Give a Gift. I'm going to hand her an imaginary present, and she is going to receive the gift, open it, and decide what's in it. And then she is going to give me a gift, and I'll do the same thing. So here we go. Reverend Rebecca.
Hi, Mara.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I got you something.
You did?
I did. It's
What a surprise.
I know. Well, you're a great friend. So here you go.
Oh. Wow. Whew. Could you help? It's heavy. Wow. Shall I open it?
Oh, please, yes.
Okay. We're going to open it down here, right, Darla? Wow. Whoa. Wow. Whoa. Whoa. Woo. It's a red boa. Wow. A feather boa. Red feather boa.
It's a
Thank you,
great
Mara.
color on you. You're welcome.
Wow. Gosh.
You're welcome.
Wait, I have something, right, Nash? Can you give me the present for Mara? Can you? It's me. Oh, thank you. It's very.
Ooh.
Here we go. We have a present for
Oh,
you.
thank you. I'm going to put it over here because I'm holding the mic. Okay. I have to open it up. It's wrapped beautifully. Oh, it is a tiny, miniature little puppy. It's so cute. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for my boa.
You're welcome. You're looking sassy. So, very quickly, I thought it might be super fun if you felt like turning to a neighbor and playing this game. So if you wish to participate, I invite you to find a friend, find a neighbor, and exchange some gifts.
You get to just make it out, right? Good. Yeah. And are you going to have them sing them to class?
Yes, I will. Yeah, so tell me.
I think now.
Hey, everybody. So we do have to move on, but if you... Hi. This is wonderful. Listen, we could play some more at coffee hour. Okay? So at this time, I invite you all to help us sing the children out. Thank you.
Half of the proceeds of today's collection will go to support our partner church in Oseke, Transylvania, that we heard about last Sunday. As an act of worship, the offering will now be gratefully received.
Now is the time in our service each week where we lift up and remember the joys and sorrows of our members and friends gathered here today. Dawn Pelletier asks that we remember their dear friend Bruce, who has been diagnosed with cancer, and to extend prayers as he is going through treatment. This morning we remember our longtime member, Ted Bailey. Ted went on a hike at Old Town Hill a week ago where he fell and broke his hip. He's had surgery at MGH and is now at Whittier Rehab. It's a little too soon for visits, although we do know he would love to receive cards. We also celebrate this morning the birth of Evander Nathaniel, and that is indeed a joy to share. We keep now in our hearts Jaden Petroles in our hearts and prayers. He is a teenager struggling with independence. For all of those things upon our hearts this morning that are bringing us joy and hope, and for all of those things that are bringing us sadness. Okay. that though unspoken are just as important. We lift them up today. I'm going to offer a spoken prayer that is written already, and then a few words of my own extemporaneously. This prayer by Reverend Amy Zucker Morgenstern is entitled A Prayer for Choosing Day, as this morning we are focusing on discernment. On this sacred day of choosing, with gratitude to those who have entrusted us with this honored task, who struggled and suffered that we might have the power to choose. May we choose well. May we choose love over fear, wisdom over cleverness, courage over cowardice, life over death, kindness over callousness, faith over cynicism. May we know that we choose not just for today, but for many generations to come. May we know that we decide not only for ourselves and our own, but on behalf of all the earth, its peoples and creatures, the waters and lands in which they dwell. We seek the humility to know our own shortcomings and uncertainty, even as we accept the responsibility to decide the fate of others. May we weigh our choices with full awareness of how precious is all we hold in our hands. As we ourselves are weighed and tested by the choices we make, may we be found worthy. May we choose as leaders those who will strive to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly. And grateful for our differences, may we find in each other qualities worthy of our trust and respect. Spirit of life and of love, Spirit of all that has gone before us, of all that is present right here, right now, and of all that is yet to come. Each and every person here today faces choices. Choices of how we will respond to the person sitting next to us, how we will listen and be open and changed by those in our lives. We face choices big and small. We face choices that sometimes feel too heavy. And we face choices that we don't even realize the impact of until much later. Help us be kind. Help us remember our best selves. Help us remember that other people struggle too. And may we always know that though we make mistakes, forgiveness always awaits. Amen.
Our reading today is entitled Love is Love, and it is my pleasure to read it. To the editor and Greater Newburyport community, we write to address a recent letter in the February 25th issue of the Daily News that took issue with the banner we display. Based on some of the misconceptions therein, we are compelled to share what our faith is and what we believe. We are Unitarian Universalists. Our church is part of a larger association of independent and autonomous churches known as the Unitarian Universalist Association. Our faith is grounded in 7 principles drawn from sources that include the world's religions, science, nature, personal experience, as well as Judeo-Christian teachings, quote, which call us to respond to God's love by loving our neighbors and ourselves. These principles guide our actions and our moral and social statements of belief, such as those currently displayed on our banner. The first of these 7 principles is that we believe, quote, in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. This principle grounds our belief in and support of the Black Lives Matter movement, just immigration practices, the ownership of women over their reproductive rights, and the celebration of the LGBTQ community. Another of our principles recognizes the, quote, interdependent web of all existence. As such, we believe that climate change is real and that humans have an impact on it. Whether one believes this impact to be significant or not, we believe it is our duty to recognize our part in the course of Earth's evolution and to do our part to stop its destruction. Our third principle, quote, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, invites all who seek to grow, to accept others and be accepted, to be in service to one another, and to promote a just world to come in our doors and learn. Learn who we are. Learn what we believe. Learn what we do. At service each Sunday, we recite our church's covenant, the Affirmation of Faith. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. Our faith is intended to lift humankind up, to care for our planet, and to serve a greater good. We strive to live boldly into our beliefs. We celebrate our faith with sermon, ritual, music, youth activism, book groups, pastoral care, social justice action, guest speakers, small group ministries, and community partnerships. We practice our faith with compassion, love, and joy, and we welcome you to join us. Our faith guides our actions and guided our decision to hang the banner on the front of our building. The banner does not depict a political agenda. Our agenda is love, and we are not ashamed. Reverend Rebecca M. Bryan and Karen Young, Parish Board Chair. On behalf of the Parish Board, Rebecca Brodish, Vice Chair. Ann Hauser, Forrest Speck, Judy Fair, Juliana Beauvais, Maureen Adams, Micah Donahue, Rich Johnson, Kim Kenley, Jason McClin, Vernon Ellis, Art Henshaw, and Kristen Fellhaber, ex officio. Therein ends the reading. And please join in singing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Please be seated. Jason, our board member who read the letter this morning, had to scoot, to use his words, because he's going with our sixth graders to the mosque. It is our faith. It is our faith tradition that is grounded in the world religions and love and compassion for all people, that believes in the inherent worth and dignity of all people. I'll share what I wrote instead of talking off the cuff, or we'll be here all day. I put out a funny thing on we have a friend's Facebook page, and I put out a note about, oh gosh, my first sermon draft is a little long, and I got everything from say it all to, God, please don't. So I just wanted to say, I'm just joking. It was just a joke. I mean, it really was long, but I wouldn't do that to us. Someone suggested perhaps I'll put out a book entitled First Drafts. I liked that. I thought that would be fun. Anyway. Here's what I wrote. The text message came through as I walked out the door of our home. There's a letter to the editor in this morning's paper. You should read it. And so it began. The unexpected bend in the road. All of our well-laid plans, full days. Now, responding, as we all know happens all the time, to the unexpected. An unanticipated letter to the editor in the newspaper opposing the banner hung outside of our church. I'm going to read this letter in its entirety, not to fuel indignation, rather so that everyone can hear what it said. In case you hadn't read it or you're wondering, I'd rather we're just all present as I speak afterwards. So, allow me to read this letter. A walk down Pleasant Street in Newburyport on a sunny day has always brought joy to my heart. The landmark Unitarian church gleams in the sunshine, and like a sentinel seems to be keeping watch over the citizenry. Today, however, I could not help but grimace and sigh in displeasure at the political posting that sullied the front of the building. Like he went after the money changers, Jesus would tear this ugly graffiti down forthwith. It is titled, "In This Congregation We Believe," and the ugly political talking points follow. Black Lives Matter. This is a domestic terrorist group. Climate change is real. No kidding, it always changes, and humans have no significant impact on it. No human being is illegal. We are a nation of laws. If you come here unlawfully, you are a criminal, and thus an illegal alien subject to deportation. All genders are whole, holy, and good. There are two genders, male and female. That's what Genesis tells us and what science tells us. Women have agency over their bodies. Yes, they do, but that does not give them the right to kill another human being who happens to be growing in their womb. I do not attend this church, but I do not believe that everyone who does could be happy with what strikes me as a direct affront to God Himself. A beautiful church has been desecrated to serve a political agenda, and those responsible should be ashamed of themselves. And it's also time to find another route for my afternoon walk. As I said, I did not read this to be provocative or to prove how right we are. I read it so we're not distracted trying to remember what it said or asking the person sitting next to us what it said. More importantly, however, I read those words, every single one of them, so that I can speak from the pulpit of this church to those who are directly affronted by those words. I'm not concerned about our reputation or about how it might hurt many, if not most of us. However, for our friends, families, allies, and partners for whom those words are threatening and directly affronting, I am furious. So I say, gender fluid, non-binary, and transgender friends, we are sorry. Gender is not static, and it is not binary. It is a state that is being labeled as male or female related to the social and cultural roles that are considered appropriate for men and women. We are a welcoming congregation and your allies. We will stand up against those who discriminate or threaten you. To our Black members, families, and friends, we stand with you. Black lives do matter. And we will work to do whatever we can until that is a reality. Immigrants, we are a safe place. And we are partnering with other faith communities right now to help keep you safe. Women, we work for sexual justice and have done so faithfully as a denomination for more than 50 years. And dear Mother Earth, we have harmed you, and we are doing what we can to respond to that harm and to prevent further damage. This church is a safe place for all people, with all political views. However, we will not tolerate threats, especially to those the least empowered to respond to them. For it is our diversity in all of its forms that makes us the most beautiful and the most strong. I just need to read that again. This church is a safe place for all people. We are not perfect. I'm not perfect. We will make mistakes. We do make mistakes. And we are a safe place for all people, including those with all political views. However, we will not tolerate threats, especially to the people who are the least empowered to be able to respond to them. Our diversity in all forms is what makes us beautiful and strong. So going back to my original story, because it's important and relevant to today's sermon on discernment, I got the text, you should read this letter. I read the letter, and I knew what to do immediately. My only question, if you really want to know the truth, this is the truth, was should I drive to the gym and do this in the parking lot at the gym or do it at home in my driveway? That's the only decision I needed to make. I knew what to do. I emailed the parish board, our director of finance and administration, our director of community engagement, and two other members of the congregation, Tom Stites and Lynn Kittleson, who I know are experienced in issues of communication, particularly sort of crisis communication. I reached out to them and I asked for collective and collaborative discernment about how we best respond. I didn't have to think about that, as there are several key values that were well established before this incident occurred. These values include shared ministry, a commitment to our 7 principles, and to collaboration. Those fundamental values were promised in the founding of our faith and reiterated in the covenant we made to one another when I was installed as your settled minister. All of a sudden, words like shared ministry take on a new meaning. It wasn't for me to hand over to a governing board and say, not my problem. And it wasn't for me to call some higher up and say, tell us exactly how to answer this according to the rules, creeds, and laws of our church. And it wasn't for me to say, here's what I'm going to do. This is our church. And so very quickly, in a state of calm responsiveness, the board agreed on a course of action. We spoke with a collaborator, the director of communications at the UUA. We communicated to the congregation as soon as possible what had happened and our plans. And then later that evening, Karen Young, as the board chair, wrote that fantastic letter that Jason read just a few minutes ago. A letter grounded in our principles of faith and the affirmation of faith that we recite together every Sunday. Board members happily signed on, and the letter was sent without drama. Here's what we didn't do. We didn't discuss how to retaliate. We didn't badmouth the author or speculate who else in town might agree with him. Why would we? That would be out of covenant with each other and with you. Our discernment in this case happened quickly, and sometimes that happens naturally. Other times, circumstances necessitate it. It can also take weeks, years, or a lifetime to discern our course of action. Our biggest questions in life are the threads that weave throughout all of our days, perhaps never fully answered to our satisfaction. Discernment stems from 2 Latin words, dis, meaning apart, and cernere, meaning to separate. It's the process of making a decision based on one's ability to separate the true from the false, or more frequently, to separate the best from the good of choices. Burton D. Carley and Laurel Hallman write in Not For Ourselves Alone, quote, discernment is much more than using good judgment about matters of importance. It is also a quality of wisdom and a way of living our whole lives in authenticity, in covenant with others and with the holy. It is the capacity for connecting our decisions to our deepest calling or purpose. Learning the art of discernment and supporting one another in that process is fundamental to our faith tradition and this congregation. Reverend Douglas Taylor references this when he says, the binding element of our communities is our promise of how we will be together. The letter to the editor and our response highlight 2 important components of effective discernment. The first is being clear about our values. The second is knowing to whom we are accountable. We discern what our goals are and how to respond in a situation based on our values and our relational promises. As Unitarian Universalists connected to this church, we know our values and we have made promises to one another. We can differ in our opinions and our theologies and remain committed to our values and to each other. Values and politics are not the same thing, although the line between them can easily be blurred if we're not careful. And this again is where we hold one another accountable. The board has been hard at work analyzing and synthesizing the data that almost 200 of you shared with us about what you see as the core values of this congregation, your vision and dreams for this church. And we'll be unveiling what emerged as the core values, 4 of them, as well as the proposed mission and end statements during worship on March 15th. As a congregation, we have to integrate and sometimes balance our accountability to each other and our accountability to other people and things. We're accountable to our families, our friends, our communities, our dreams. Many of us are accountable to God, whether we understand that as spirit, a higher power, or ethical humanism. We are also accountable to our partners in justice work. Parker Palmer tells a story in his book, A Hidden Wholeness, about a government worker who was forced to decide whether to accept a proposal that prioritized profit over land preservation. And after discernment in the company of trusted others, he chose land preservation, fully aware of the risks that imposed on his employment. When Parker Palmer asked him about it, he said in response, "I don't report to my boss. I report to the land." I used to think that some people made their decisions individually and others did it in concert with other people. I now understand that although most of us have a preference for one of those 2 ways, both are important. Spiritual teachers all teach of the need to have self-awareness and trusted community, whether that be one trusted friend or a larger group. I appreciate Parker's perspective on solitude and community. He says, solitude is not about the absence of other people. It is about being fully present to ourselves, whether or not we are with others. And community means never losing the awareness that we are connected to one another. Quakers gather together in clearing committees, 12-step programs use meetings and sponsors. We have Chalice circles here that foster such relationships. Parker Palmer encourages these things that he calls circles of trust, where the primary purpose is to support individuals in connecting to their inner truth by creating sacred, safe space and asking open-ended questions. He says we have much to learn from within, but it is easy to get lost in the labyrinth of the inner life. We have much to learn from others, but it is easy to get lost in the confusion of the crowd. Effective discernment is essential if we are to live integrated, whole, authentic lives. For when we don't, we run the risk of living split or divided lives, even within ourselves. Parker Palmer says we need to unite our roles and our souls. Spirituality and faith are not alone in recognizing the importance of discernment. The Association of American Colleges and Universities identifies it as, quote, essential to the development of personal and social responsibility, and a key to preparing students for a globally engaged democracy. Discernment, or the art of making authentic, value-driven, accountable choices, is a lifelong endeavor, and developing its muscles before a major incident is helpful, though crises do carry wonderful opportunities as well. It's also cumulative. It's the accumulation of the seemingly small decisions that most often lead to the biggest outcomes. W.G. Sebald said, "We take almost all of the decisive steps in our lives as a result of slight inner adjustments of which we are barely conscious." It certainly was true for how we responded to the letter. We already had our values. We knew who we were accountable to, and we trusted one another. We had made those decisions that strengthened those things many times before in small and large ways. Over the course of this month, you will be asked to make important decisions as it relates to this congregation. Important decisions about what this church means to you. For some of you, whether you want to join. For all of you, friends and members, what gifts you're willing and able to commit to the church, financially and otherwise. How are you going to support and engage with our new values, mission, and ends? These are all very important decisions. Very important. None of them, not one of them, however, is as important as the decision to be true to yourself. That discernment that will help you live a united, integrated life in which your mind and your heart and your actions align. A life there where you can experience joy and make meaning, where you give and receive love. None of those other decisions are nearly as important as that. My friends, my wish for each and every one of us is to discern those answers of who we are called to be. Here, that's who we want. That's who I love. That's what will save this world. And it's there that we'll find our treasures. Amen. Let's rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Let's join our voices in our unison benediction. The words are in your order of service. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us now and always. My friends, we are indeed so blessed to be a part of this community. And yes, we are blessed, and indeed, perhaps even more than that, we are called, we are challenged to be agents of love. We are called to go out into this world that is in such desperate need of healing and to return anger with compassion, to return a hardcore response with an open heart, trusting and knowing that love has the power to heal all that is unlike itself. Go out this week. Let us be brave. Let us be even more brave than we've been in the past. And let us see what harm love can undo. Go in peace, my friends. Return again in great joy. Amen, and blessed be.